Hey, what is going on, guys? And welcome to this very special podcast edition of the main event talk happening right now as we speak. Now, as you can probably tell, I'm not sure if anybody can listen to this or not because this is the first time. Well, this is not exactly. Okay, well, let me correct this. It's not the first time that something as far as it going, blank and everything else like that. Because as you can tell on the screen, that I'm basically just having my phone face down and I'm talking to the phone. However, the difference is you could probably hear me a lot clearer, way clearer than ever before. Because the main event had decided that I bought this sort of a headset type situation, basically a pair of plugs and all this other stuff. I hooked it onto my phone and I was testing it out a few times, and I never imagined that I would sound this better, this good. So if you're listening to the main event right now, basically this is sort of a podcast edition. So the main event wanted to go ahead and do this, try this out for the very, very first time and get everyone's opinion about the headset, about how it sounds. I've been doing a few episodes of the main event thoughts for the past several weeks. I've not been able to really do a main event talk, which, usually when I do that, I usually do it in person and show myself in front of the camera and everything else like that. But this time I decided we're going to let the audience listen to the main event instead of looking at this beautiful, gorgeous face that is the main event. Anyways, we got a lot of things we got to talk about, guys. Obviously, if you guys had an opportunity to check out SmackDown live today, holy shit! I mean, I wasn't expecting it. Everyone saw it. The episode of the main event talk is obviously entitled "Vince McMahon Strikes Again," and it's exactly what he did, just like what happened with Charlotte Flair. Now Kevin Owens has now become a part of Fastlane, and now he has an opportunity at the WWE Championship. The main event's going to talk about that and a few other things in this episode of this live podcast episode of the main event talk happening right now as we speak. Now, there was something that I wanted to talk about first before we talk about SmackDown, before we talk about some of the things that are happening. Now, as you can tell, I'm drinking a little bit of Coke right now. I was eating some Whataburger. I had a number 2 double meat, double cheese, no onions, Diet Coke, water size fries, and the whole 9 yards. Okay, I lied about the Diet Coke. I actually had myself a regular Coke and everything else like that, and a little bit of barbecue, honey barbecue chicken sandwich. But that is for another case for another time. Okay. For those of you that have been paying attention to some of the things that have been happening on my main event talks or my main event thoughts on YouTube, I pretty much had these very serious main event thoughts out there, and so far I've been getting a lot of good views on each of these episodes, and I love it that I can go ahead and not only show the picture. Anytime when you see a main event thought video, you see a pic of the subject. And as you could tell right now, it's all in black and white. It's all black. You can't really see me anyway, but you can hear my voice, talking about what's going on. I've been doing a lot of serious episodes of the main event thoughts, giving you my opinions on certain things, whether I was talking about the whole thing with the Royal Rumble, the whole thing with Becky Lynch, and also the whole thing with Nia Jax. That got a lot of views. If you notice the one with the intergender matches, and as I mentioned on the main event thoughts, I don't think there's going to be any intergender matches anytime soon. As a matter of fact, I think it was several weeks ago, there was an intergender match that was supposedly advertised on a WWE live event between Dean Ambrose and Nia Jax. That didn't happen. That didn't go down in any way possible. So that went ahead and just went out the window in every way possible, which in a crazy way, it's kind of okay that happened, because I don't, I've come to a conclusion about something. I've come to a conclusion about this, and it goes a little something like this. Did you know that the WWE has already done a few intergender matches before? Yeah, I've come to realize that has happened before. Thinking about the Attitude Era, I was watching a few matches that I was trying to remember. I believe there was one with Tori Wilson, not Tori Wilson. There was a girl named Tori that appeared. She was actually a member of DX. She was also I think, the girlfriend of Kane at the time. This was back in the beginning of 2000. And I remember seeing this whole thing with her against, I believe it was X Pac. And then the whole story of how, I guess, she basically screwed Kane over and ended up with DX and everything else like that. It was a crazy, crazy story. Not that the WWE has never experimented with intergender matches. It's happened, as a matter of fact. I've seen a couple that have happened during the Attitude Era, and I don't see any reason why they shouldn't do it. But at the same time, I don't think, as I stated before in one of the episodes of the Main Event Thoughts, you have to not only make it as believable as possible, it has to also be accepted by the audience. They have to accept it in every way possible. And you have to also understand, you have kids and you have parents who will watch WWE and will definitely have their opinions and their thoughts about it in every way possible. So for the intergender match to not happen between D and Nia Jax, I mean, it's not a big surprise. So it's a good thing that it didn't happen. That's out the window. So, now we don't have to deal with that anymore. So let's get to the subjects that we need to talk about. Let's talk about, obviously, the biggest subject of them all. Obviously, we're going to talk about some of the things that Mr. McMahon has done. We'll get to that in a moment. And also, kind of something that I saw on Facebook and on Twitter. I had no idea that Fastlane was about to become a racist pay-per-view. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that at the very, very end of this episode. So you guys got to listen to this because this is so interesting. Um, I want to talk about Roman Reigns for a moment. Well, if you guys have heard of the announcement, you guys heard about it, you heard the story, and it's. I have to say that it was not exactly what I expected, but it was good. It was very, very good. As I mentioned on a previous episode of the Main Event Thoughts, I had talked about the fact that if Roman Reigns comes back early in the ring, then he's got to wait a few months and everything else like that. And if something about his leukemia comes up where he's cured and everything else like that, I know there's some fans that are still thinking that it's a work. I don't believe it's a work at all, as far as I'm concerned. But let's go through the whole thing with Monday Night Raw. Roman Reigns shows up at the very, very beginning of the show, and my God, it was a standing ovation in front of everyone, and it was so, so cool that Roman Reigns got that ovation. He deserves it. He deserves it a whole lot after a lot that he has gone through within the past. And I mentioned 3 months. It's actually 4 months. It was 4 months. The whole thing that happened with Roman Reigns was at the end of October. We're in February right now, getting close to March. So we're in 4 months into this whole thing. So in a crazy way, this is this is more acceptable, more believable now. So Roman Reigns comes out, and that crowd was completely insane for Roman Reigns. They missed him, and you can tell that the audience was really, really glad to see him. And Roman Reigns looked in tremendous shape and everything. And Roman Reigns had came out and basically told the world, "I'm in remission, y'all." And those were the words that came out of Roman Reigns. And that crowd, man, they were so happy to hear that and everything. And it was just so cool that it took place. And also, basically, the big dog is obviously back in the WWE ring. Now, as I mentioned on the Main Event Thoughts, I thought for sure that this would be a prognosis, which it was. It was a prognosis about his status in WWE, his status with his leukemia and everything else like that. And one thing that is very, very clear at this point, there isn't an in-ring return yet, but it doesn't necessarily mean it happened. it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't happen because I think it will happen. I'm not sure when his in ring return will be. We're hoping, and this is just my opinion, my thought. If Roman Reigns comes back to the ring, it should be, I was going to say in WrestleMania, but with what opponent? But I think it should be after WrestleMania, as far as I'm concerned, just to keep the crowd with Roman Reigns all the way. Because, like I said, Roman Reigns has gone through a lot within the past few months, and the crowd loves him, and he deserves this a whole lot. And I was and I want to bring this up because this was one of the things that I found so funny because it's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. And I got to tell you something. I realize we've got some stupid people. We've got a lot of stupid people out there that are going to go ahead and say what they want, when they want, and try to put a point out. Okay, now, this is the point that they make. Okay, yes, it's good that Roman Reigns is back. And yes, the crowd loves it. But are we going to get the same Roman Reigns? Are we going to get the same guy that we first saw? I need to be, quote unquote, entertained. I need to be entertained, right? I need to be entertained. Roman Reigns needs to entertain us, really. So I was watching this. I think it was a podcast of some kind on YouTube. I'm not going to give the name out because I don't feel that they just. Well, I still watch it from time to time, but I just find it a little bit insulting that you have to use the entertainment aspect of anything. Now, yes, we all understand that the WWE is, quote unquote, sports entertainment. It is, after all, World Wrestling Entertainment. We understand that. But you have to also understand one thing. In the middle of WWE, let's see, we got the world, yes. And then we got the wrestling, yes. And then we got the entertainment, okay? We understand the entertainment aspect of everything that goes on. But what I'm looking for, what I crave the most out of everything that goes on besides entertainment is wrestling. Oh, yeah, it's wrestling. That's what I want. That's what the main event craves. That's what you crave. That's what the entire world craves. We crave wrestling. Okay? We crave wrestling. Like we could give two shits of a flying fuck about entertainment. Listen, if the main event wants to be entertained, here's how you're gonna entertain. I'm gonna head over to Theo's, all right? I'm gonna head over to Theo's. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna have myself a couple of fucking shots. Yes, I'm gonna have my shot of a Jaeger bomb and shot of a Fireball, okay? And then have myself a big-ass Beer Michelob Ultra. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to see a couple of badass chicks, a couple of hot-looking chicks put in front of me and see one of these two get their ass kicked and everything else like that. That is my form of entertainment. You want more entertainment? Let me give you another form of entertainment for the main event to watch. And this is an 18 adults only type podcast, but if you're in, it's okay. We're not going to blame you for this. Say you walk into, I don't know, the Palace, a gentleman's club, if you will, and you're there. You pay $10 to get in. Yes, $10 to actually get into a fucking strip club. You go in, you do the same routine. You get yourself a shot, you get yourself a beer, you get you the whole 9 yards. And then, after that, you go ahead and you look at this beautiful, gorgeous, awesome, Brazilian, hot-ass looking woman, and you are physically and mentally and outrageously entertained by the fact that she amazing curves and the biggest set of you-know-whats that you've ever seen in your life. That is entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. Entertainment in the form that the main event likes. Okay? That's the way entertainment should be. Now, in the WWE, if your form of entertainment is to be laughed or to jokes and make fun of this business, get the fuck out of here, okay? Shut the fuck up and move the fuck on, all right? I want to be entertained in a different form of matter, and that is I want to see two wrestlers come into the ring, beat each other's ass, make a story out of it. One person walks out, the winner, and the other person walks out, the loser. I don't give a rat's ass who becomes a babyface, who becomes a heel, as long as I'm entertained in some way, shape, or form. That's how it is. Now, the whole thing is, Roman Reigns, it doesn't matter if he changes. I don't care. I'm glad that he's back. A lot of fans are glad that he's back. But I'm hearing this crap about, well, obviously we've heard the stories about the fact that, oh, well, it's probably a work. And I've heard the confusion. There's a few people I know, especially a few of my friends that are on Facebook, that are confused. Whole thing with Roman Reigns and everything else, and is he what's going on? I mean, why is he out, and why is he going to be a part of WrestleMania? And this is just a work. I know it's a work. Vince McMahon's a racist and all this. Oh God, my God. I mean, I've been the biggest wrestling fan in the world for a long time, and I've always come to realize that the most entertaining thing about some of these people, especially when it comes to the pro wrestling fans, I know some people take this seriously. I take it seriously too. But I'm someone that is entertained by the fact that we've got a bunch of people that will bitch, whine, moan, and complain about the stuff that we already know about. Now, I've heard it, I've seen it, I've watched it, and I said to myself, does this guy have any idea and have any clue as to where this is going? His aspect of watching entertainment, watching people do this ridiculous storyline, and that is a form of entertainment that he wants. You want to go to a fucking circus. If you want to see a clown get thrown over a fucking building, watch a horror movie. If you want to see hot, gorgeous looking women at any place at any time, go to a strip club. Be entertained by any of those things. Roman Reigns returning to the ring is awesome. But here's the thing that nobody has talked about yet. When is he coming back to the ring? This is the thing. Roman Reigns, I'm glad he's back. A lot of fans are glad he's back. And to me, whatever happened before, happened before. I don't care if he turns heel. I don't care if he turns into a babyface. It don't matter to me. It shouldn't matter to anybody else. Did it matter to John Cena a long time ago? Absolutely not. Because John Cena was John Cena. He was exactly who he is. That is as real as he could possibly get. Roman Reigns is the same way. You got to leave it alone. You got to let it go, man. You got to understand that, to me, I mean, while it's a little bit questionable that he's returning a little bit sooner because he's been away from the ring for 4 months and everything else in that aspect, at least we know he's coming back to the ring. We're hoping. I know some people are probably thinking he's going to come back at Fastlane, and I think that will be the case. If that happens, then that's when the question marks will start coming in and everything else like that. But if he doesn't show up at Fastlane, and say he shows up at WrestleMania, probably more questions than answers on that one. But maybe after WrestleMania, okay, that'll be a little bit more acceptable. It'll be a little bit more better to everyone else's view. So I dig it, I love it, and everything else like that. So my congratulations to Roman Reigns for beating this. Congratulations go out to him. He's a remission, y'all. And I'm hoping very, very soon we'll get an opportunity to see Roman Reigns. I'm hoping he doesn't go after the Universal Championship. I really got to give that to his boy, Seth Rollins, who we know Seth Rollins is very, very happy that his brother, is back in the WWE ring. Now, there's also another part that I want to discuss with, speaking of the subject of Roman Reigns. At the end of Monday Night Raw, as you could tell, Roman Reigns had appeared. He came out and he fought, obviously. There was Baron Corbin, there was Drew McIntyre, there was Bobby Lashley, and then there was Elias. There was 4 individuals trying to beat up on Dean Ambrose, and then there's a Shield. There's pretty much Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns coming in to help out Dean Ambrose. And then at the end, you notice that Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns were looking at each other, and then they were looking at Dean Ambrose. Now, this is the thing. I'm going to say that the Shield coming back together, I was hoping for the Shield not to come back together at all. I don't want to see it happen again. But now it's already coming to this point where, okay, Roman is back. Let's get the Shield back together. Let's get the Shield back together. My thought on it is I'm hoping that the Shield does get back together. I know Dean Ambrose did what he did and everything else like that. And it's very, very understandable as to why Roman Reigns should hate Dean Ambrose. It's understandable. Very, very understandable. But to me, Dean Ambrose has been going through his rocky road, so to speak. Having, not only win the Intercontinental Championship, he had a bad match with Seth Rollins. He lost the Intercontinental Championship to Bobby Lashley. He didn't want to resign with WWE. Basically went back to his old ways, which I'm glad that he's back as the old Dean Ambrose, because I think this Dean Ambrose is way better than the Dean Ambrose we know now. Even though it was a little bit entertaining because of the things he was doing, I think it's good that the old Dean Ambrose is back. I like this Dean Ambrose, and I'm hoping that I hope we do see a Shield reunion happen. I hope it happens. I really, really hope it does. But in the meantime, right now, it's all just dust in the wind. We'll see what happens. We'll see how all this goes with Dean Ambrose, with Seth Rollins, and with Roman Reigns. We'll see how this goes. And we'll also have to find out when Roman Reigns is going to return to the ring. That will be a very, very important date, and I don't think it'll be anytime soon. It'll probably be, like I said, if it happens at WrestleMania, maybe. If it happens after WrestleMania, I think I like that a little bit better. That's just my view. That's just my thought. Let me also, before we get to what we, as far as the whole thing with Vince McMahon goes, I want to talk about the ending of Monday Night Raw. I want to talk about the greatest world heavyweight champion of all time. I want to talk about the 16-time world heavyweight champion, the 2-time WWE Hall of Famer, unquestionably the greatest world champion of all time. I'm talking about the man, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo! And I got to tell you, seeing Ric Flair out there, as you know, anyone that has kept up with some of the things that have been going on with Ric Flair, he had appeared, I think this past weekend, he already had his own birthday bash, and it was kind of funny that it was going to happen that way, because I saw several tweets, several deals of Chris Jericho. I think Edge was there at the party. Triple H was there at the party. There were several of Ric Flair's closest friends that were over there that appeared at the birthday, obviously, and it was so, so cool. Now, he wasn't even 70 just yet at the time. This happened again. I saw it on Twitter. I saw it on Facebook. I saw it on Instagram as well. So it was good that that happened. And then finding out that Ric Flair was going to appear on Monday Night Raw. His birthday was official yesterday. He turned 70 years old. And I saw some of the greatest interviews that he did a long time ago. And I did a personal live tribute to Ric Flair carrying the World Heavyweight Championship. I posted it live on my Facebook, on my Main Event Talk Facebook page. And it was beautiful. It was some of the things that was very, very tremendous. So, Ric Flair comes, he's not coming just yet. In the ring, you had Triple H, you had Stephanie McMahon, you had Shawn Michaels, you had, I believe, I'm trying to remember who else was in the ring. Sting! Sting was actually in the ring, believe it or not. And I was very, very happy to see Sting, because I hadn't seen Sting in a long, long time. And man, he looks good, and he looks just this time we saw him. Stinger looks tremendous, and I love it, man. It was a great, great deal. Now, we're all anticipating to wait for the Nature Boy Ric Flair. We hear the music. We hear the siren. Dun, 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 dun. And then we're waiting for Ric Flair to show up. We're waiting for him to strut down that aisle. He is ready to come to walk down that aisle and wish Ric Flair 70th birthday. And then all of a sudden, something happened. Something happened, and this was one of these things that I was not expecting, nobody was expecting, and everything. So apparently there was some guy that was dragging some camera guy over there, and we weren't sure who that guy was, and then when we got a close camera shot, Who could this be? You hear that song right there in the background. Yeah, you hear right. You hear that song, you know what it is. It's Batista! For the first time since the Evolution reunion, the Animal, Batista returns, but he returns with a purpose. He returns with a mission. He returns with an idea, and the idea is he comes in to Ric Flair's dressing room. You hear a bunch of knocks, you hear a bunch of knockdowns. Batista opens the door, he pulls out Ric Flair. And I'm like, what the fuck did he just do? Beat the hell out of Ric Flair, took the glasses off, looked into the camera, and said, "Do I got your attention now, Hunter?" And obviously, Triple H came down the aisle, was trying to go after Ric Flair and trying to see how, this was a great ending. This was a very, very great ending. Now, I'm sure all of you are probably dying to know what the main event thinks about this whole situation. Let me get this out if you don't mind. Now, as you know, it seems like every year, especially when WrestleMania comes along, with The Undertaker, I mean, he could probably come out at WrestleMania, which, by the way, there's going to be a little bit of an episode of the Main Event Thoughts about The Undertaker in the near future, about how I feel about The Undertaker and everything else like that. But we'll talk about that in a future episode of the Main Event Thoughts, so get ready for that. So we've always been wanting to see, like, The Undertaker appear at WrestleMania every year, right? And Triple H, Triple H has always had an opponent for WrestleMania every single year. Last year, he teamed with his wife to take on Kurt Angle and the debut of Rousey. That was last year's WrestleMania. That's what took place. And then, of course, we saw the whole ridiculous thing that happened at Crown Jewel. Okay, that took place. So now Triple H had an injury. He fixed his quadriceps, I believe that's what it was. He had an injury done to him. And the question was he going to be able to appear at WrestleMania? And even if he appears at WrestleMania, who is his opponent going to be? At first, I thought it would be great to see Triple H versus The Rock. I thought that would be the best match. Well, not the best match in the card probably, but it would probably be the best match that we would see in a long, long time, especially when you have two competitors that have faced off against each other for so many years and have never, ever faced off against each other at WrestleMania. That would be a first. But The Rock, unfortunately, is out the window. That's not going to happen. Now, all of a sudden, someone else comes into the picture. And that someone else is what the person I'm about to talk about. Now, let me take you back to Smackdown 1000. Let's talk about Smackdown 1000. You know about the Evolution reunion. You know about the fact that you saw the Animal, Batista. You saw the Viper, the Killer, Randy Orton himself. You got the 13, 14, 715-time world champion in the form of the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And you got the greatest world champion of all time, the 14-time world champion. Or was it 15-time? Oh, well, whatever. Triple H. You got them all in the ring. And then I still remember that comment that Batista said to Triple H. That same comment where Triple H has beaten them all, but he's never beaten the Animal. Oh, yeah. He's never beaten the Animal. Yes, it's true. Now, how do I know this? Let me count the ways. Let me go to WrestleMania 21, when Batista defeated Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 21. You remember that, right? I remember that quite well. Let's also talk about, I was trying to remember the second match. There was a second match that these two had. I think it was a one-on-one match that happened at, I think it was Backlash, I think. I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember the match because there was three matches. The second one I cannot recall. I may have to look into that when I have the opportunity. The third match, on the other hand, was Triple H versus Batista for the World Heavyweight title, Hell in the Cell, and I believe it was I think it was Bad Blood or No Mercy or one of those pay-per-views that appeared. So Batista has 3 victories over Triple H. and all for championships. That's what took place. And now it seems like Triple H and Batista may face off against each other in the near future. But the question is, when? When was that going to take place? When are we going to see Triple H versus Batista? How is that going to happen? We don't even know if Batista's even going to show up. We don't even know if Triple H's condition is even in counters or whatever. Triple H right now is rehabbed. He's good. He's ready to go for WrestleMania. Well, actually, he's got a little bit while longer until he actually enters the ring at WrestleMania. But nonetheless, you know the game is going to be at WrestleMania. It's going to take place in the whole 9 yards. So all that's left is for an opponent. All that's left is for someone to go after the game. But the question is, who would go after the game? There was one person who decided to go after the game. And that was Batista. He did what he could to get Triple H's attention. How did he get Triple H's attention? By going after the one person that was not only close to Batista, but was close to Triple H as well. And think about it, guys. Think about it real hard. Think about it. Do you remember when Do you remember when Batista and Ric Flair were tag team champions? Do you remember that? Yes, you do, absolutely. It was Armageddon in 2004. That's when it took place. And then let's go even further. Remember the retirement match that Shawn Michaels did to Ric Flair? And remember the following night on Monday Night Raw when everyone said their farewells to the Nature Boy Ric Flair? Who was there? The Animal, Batista. He was there. He hugged Ric Flair. He said he loved you. He's the man in every way possible. And Triple H was there too, wasn't he? Absolutely. Now, here we are in 2019. Here we are at a point where it's Ric Flair's birthday. And Batista obviously wanted to be there for Ric Flair's birthday in every way possible. And then he decided, you know what? I love you, Ric Flair. I dig you. You're the biggest reason why I'm a professional wrestler. You're a reason why I'm a world champion. But you're not. Triple H is the person I want. And if I have to fuck you up to get to the game, I'll do that. And that's exactly what Batista did. Batista came in, pulled Ric Flair out of his dressing room, got Triple H's attention. And then Triple H comes after him. Batista disappears. Classic. It's beautiful. It's done right. It's done in every way possible at the end of Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw was pretty damn good. That was the best I've seen in a long, long time. You know? So now the question is, what's going to happen? What's going to happen with Triple H and Batista? Let me see. We're in the end of February. Fastlane is coming up. You put Triple H against Batista at Fastlane. That's the idea. Put Triple H against Batista at Fastlane. But wait a minute. No. You don't do that at all. No, it doesn't feel right. No, the intensity is too big. This animosity is too big. It's too huge for this to be on Fastlane. So what do? You put the Animal Batista. You put the Game Triple H. And you send them on a one-way ticket to MetLife Stadium. Oh yeah. You send the Animal Batista, you send the Game Triple H over to MetLife Stadium at WrestleMania 35. That sounds good. That's the draw. That's the big call. That's who Triple H's opponent is going to be at WrestleMania. And I know some people are probably thinking to themselves right now, you know what? I know there's some people that are on their podcast right now that are talking. This is how they talk. Just to let everybody know. Well, having Triple H and Batista, you know what? I think this is going to be a great match. I think them at WrestleMania and everything else, it's going to be so great. I dug it. While people try to believe in that shit, believe in this. Batista versus Triple H at WrestleMania 35. It's going to be absolutely insane. And I encourage everyone to go to the WWE Network right now and subscribe and get your hands on WrestleMania while you can, live exclusively on pay-per-view or on the WWE Network. That is how you sell, folks. While every other podcast, while every other person tries to train their voice to be the best, I'm the guy that'll sell the voice, sell it, and give you a reason to watch WrestleMania. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to sell it. Triple H versus Batista at WrestleMania 35. Obviously, that's going to be the matchup that's going to take place, and I believe that's going to be the seller right there. I can't wait to see how this story is going to work out. With Batista, with Triple H. This is going to kind of be a resemblance to, say, The Undertaker versus Triple H at WrestleMania. I mean, everybody remembers the whole thing with the end of an era. So that was tremendous to watch. I can't wait to see how this whole thing with Batista versus Triple H is going to happen. It's going to happen. You see it coming. Pretty much all of us are going to see it coming. You're going to see a lot of people involved in the storyline, and no doubt Shawn Michaels is going to be one of them, because you know that Batista's had a vendetta against Shawn Michaels, and no doubt he'll be added to the mix as well somehow. I don't know. That's just my thought. Or maybe, since he's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame anyway, what happens if, say, DX get involved? Ooh, that is something to look forward to in every way possible. I dig it. I love it. I can't wait. Batista versus Triple H at WrestleMania 35. MetLife Stadium. Wow. Can't wait for it. Like I said, it's not official yet, but we all kind of see this coming, and we know how all this is going to go. So can't wait for that. Man. So right now, this is going to be the end of the podcast right now, so I'm going to go ahead and take off from here, guys. I'm going to be... Oh, wait a minute. I'm not done. The fuck is wrong with me? I'm not done at all. Give me a fucking break here. I am on this podcast for a reason. This episode is entitled Vince McMahon Strikes Again. And he does strike again, and we're going to talk about that right here, right now. But before I talk about that, this episode of the Main Event Talk on the Main Event Talk podcast is brought to you by Big Red. Get your hands on a Big Red at any convenience store today. Okay, now... Oh, God, that sounded stupid. But anyways, let's talk about Vince McMahon. Let's talk about the stupid things that he has done besides his career, besides the XFL, and besides any other stupid gimmick that he's possibly done. Now, I had talked about this on a few previous episodes of the Main Event Thoughts. Okay. Vince McMahon is responsible for putting Charlotte Flair in a match against Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania, and pretty much kicking Becky Lynch out. Kicking the man out. Yes, we all know that. Vince McMahon does that shit, and we look at this match and say to ourselves, oh my fucking God, what has this old fuck done? And that's the comment from every other wrestling fan as we speak, because that's what I've heard. What has this old fucking bitch done? That's what I've heard from everybody. What has this old man done, and all this other stuff? Now we're getting a repeat of everything that had happened on Monday Night Raw. First, Charlotte gets the whole thing with Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon approves of the whole thing. And now, tonight, on Smackdown Live, all of a sudden, here comes Vince McMahon. Well, actually, let me give you the scenario. Let me give you the story as to how it goes, because I did see part of this on YouTube just a few moments ago. Okay, so everybody knows about the matchup. Fastlane. It's going to be Daniel Bryan defending the championship against Kofi Kingston. That's the matchup that everyone's been wanting to see, and that's the matchup everyone's going to get. Kofi deserves it in every way possible. We're in the middle of a contract signing. We got one side of the New Day right over here. You got Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon on the other side. You got Rowan and Daniel Bryan sitting here waiting to sign the contract, and then we're thinking, oh, this is going to be good. It's going to be the usual typical signing. And every time when there is a contract signing taking place, something goes down. Somebody gets their ass kicked. Somebody goes through a table. Somebody throws a clipboard at somebody else. someone gets thrown off the ring, someone gets thrown over the ring, and everything else like that. That is the way every single contract signing goes, right? But this contract signing was different. It was a whole lot different than what I expected. So here's Kofi Kingston. Well, first Daniel Bryan goes ahead, takes the contract, goes ahead and signs the paper like that, and the whole nine yards, boom, it's done. Daniel Bryan is signed to Fastlane. He's on the track. He's on the fast lane on the road to WrestleMania. And then there's Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston on the New Day comes in, signs the contract. Oh, wait a minute. He doesn't sign the contract. Wait a minute. What the fuck is that? Oh, shit. It's Vince McMahon music. You hear the song? No chance. That's what you got. And everything else like that. And then here comes Vince McMahon telling the world that Kofi Kingston, we appreciate you for 13 or 12 or how many years you've been in the WWE. We appreciate your hard work. We appreciate your sacrifices. We appreciate the fact that you've held on to every single championship and you have entertained millions all over the world. And to many, you truly deserve an opportunity at the WWE Championship. But however, things are about to change. And they're about to change in a very huge way. And they did change in a very huge way. Vince McMahon decided to replace Kofi Kingston. That's right. He replaced Kofi Kingston. He replaced Kofi Kingston with Kevin Owens. And right away, the confusion begins, and it's like, wait a minute. Okay, what the hell just happened here? Okay, we were all excited to see Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship at Fastlane. And then Vince McMahon did exactly what he did just a couple of weeks ago by replacing replacing Kofi Kingston with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens takes the spot of Kofi Kingston. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are probably wondering my thought as to what my thought process is about Kevin Owens being a part of this. Now, I will mention this. It's good to see Kevin Owens. It's good that he appears on Smackdown because as far as I'm concerned, I don't think he was really going to get anywhere with Raw. I really don't think so. Because I know that some people are probably, even a few people I know on Facebook have been saying, why the fuck is Kevin Owens on SmackDown when he's supposed to be on Raw? He's supposed to be a Raw guy. He's supposed to be this. He's supposed to be that. As far as I'm concerned, I don't give a rat's ass. We're seeing Kevin Owens for the first time in many, many months since his injury. You know, he comes back. He looks good. And Kevin Owens has never, well, let me correct this. Kevin Owens has been given an opportunity at the WWE Championship. But he's never had an opportunity to win it. To me, this is just a thing that I'm looking at. Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. Good match. I like it. It looks good. And the beauty about this, the beautiful thing about all this, I want you to listen to this very carefully, ladies and gentlemen, because this is the kicker. This is the point that I'm about to make. And there's a lot of people that are going to probably look at me and say, you're out of your fucking mind, right? I want you to listen very, very carefully. Do you have your ear close to the YouTube? Do you have your ear close to the fucking phone? Because listen to what I'm about to tell you. The idea of the fact that Kevin Owens is going after Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship is awesome. But what's even better? You know what's even better? Let me tell you what's better. It's the fact that for the first time in God knows how long, since Ring of Honor, Kevin Owens is a babyface. That's right. Kevin Owens is a babyface. Kevin Owens is a good guy now. And I know there's some people are probably saying this is fucked up. This is stupid, man. Why the fuck do we want Kevin Owens to? I liked it better as a heel. I liked it better when he pissed people off. Yeah, but that was a couple of years ago. Get over it. This is the thing that I've mentioned before, where while it's okay that Kevin Owens is a babyface right now, I don't want to see, and I said this probably a few months back. I don't know if I've ever said it on an episode of the Main Event Talk, or if I've said it on any other deal. I know I mentioned it on Facebook. I think I mentioned it, something like that. If Kevin Owens decides to return, if Kevin Owens decides to come back, he needs to come back as a babyface. He really does. Because to me, personally, I don't want to see Kevin Owens back as a heel. Because he had a good heel run. He was one of the best heels of the company. One of the best heels in the business, no matter what. And if you also think about this real hard, guys, there's not really a whole lot of baby faces out there anymore. Way too many heels. Way too many sticking heels out there. And there's absolutely no reason why Kevin Owens should not be a baby face. And to me, this gives Kevin Owens a lot of momentum. This gives Kevin Owens the new shot that he needs. This gives Kevin Owens an opportunity to be at the top level and go after the WWE Championship. Wins it or not, I don't know. But whether anybody likes it or not, we're given a good match. We're given a damn good match. And also, Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan is pretty much classic Ring of Honor when you think about it. Because I know these two have faced off against each other before, not just on the WWE ring, but I think they faced off in Ring of Honor as well. So these two know each other very, very well. So Kevin Owens taking on Daniel Bryan at Fastlane for the WWE Championship is considered a classic. And I think all of us are going to dig it. Now, let's talk about the racism part. I mentioned racism on this episode. Oh, God, it's I keep laughing about this every single time because when I start hearing shit about race, I was listening to, I don't feel like mentioning his name. I don't want to because he's a good friend of mine. I dig him. I love him. But what the hell? We apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I think something went down. I think, I think it's a little bit. Oh, man. Oh, my apologies, guys. I think my phone is starting to go down or something like that. I've been trying to hold on to this for a while. All right, so let me go ahead and get out what I gotta get out real quickly before I say anything else because I think my phone's about to go down. Well, it's not. Basically, my phone is sort of overheating a little bit, and I'm trying to cool it down, and I'm trying to get what I need to, say out of the way. So, Kofi Kingston, this whole racism thing, fans are starting to get a little bit upset about the fact that Kofi Kingston is not going to take on Kevin Owens at Fastlane. But I think, and this is what I'm looking at, and this is what I think everybody should be looking at, I think, at this point. I think Kevin Owens. Uh-oh. Oh, my God. Okay, guys, listen. I must apologize right now that I'm having some technical difficulties on my deal and everything. I'm going to come back on this live episode of the Main Event Talk. We're going to talk a little bit more about this whole thing with Kofi Kingston. I'll probably mention that at the very, very end of this episode. So, guys, I'll be right back, and hopefully my phone gets back to wherever it is it's got to get back to. Be right back. Oh, wait. You guys hear me? Well, oh, okay. Well, wow. My phone is sort of overheating. Listen, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right now. But I will be right back with another live episode of the Main Event Talk. Be right back.